Greetings and thank you for joining me at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here with Marin Katusa of Casey Research. He's the most disciplined stock picker according to Doug Casey. So I'm happy to have him here. He annually has some stock suggestions for people. So let's just kick it off there, Marin. How's it going?
Excellent. Yourself?
Great. What are the stock suggestions, or are you comfortable talking about the stock suggestions? I know it's a paid conference, so I don't want to mess with Casey.
I'm very open about it. We've got 16 companies here, and I brought 2 of them.
Okay. Now, when you say you brought 2 of them, you invited 2 of them?
Yeah. So our shows are invite only. You can't come unless you're invited by one of the editors.
Okay.
Louis brought 14 management teams. I brought 2. One of them was Keith Hill from the Lundin Group, and that's Africa Oil. We've been long supporters of the story. Our subscribers have made a great run on that story. We were the first people to recommend the stock under $1. We took profits many times and we eventually sold. Stock did get up to $12 a share.
Wow.
So it's been a great run.
What's it at now?
It's about $6-7. It fluctuates around.
And you guys are still suggesting that?
No,
stock?
what we did now is we've sold it in the newsletter, but I also like to bring the company because it's such a high quality management team. And more importantly, I have such a respect in Keith Hill. What he's done here is built world-class assets in the East African Rift. And I'm trying to show our subscribers what a case study looks from beginning to end, because I do believe the company will be bought out. I'm just trying to understand more as the resources develop more. At what point will they get bought out? It could be 12 months, it could be 18 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 36 months. I don't know. But, we were the first ones to ever talk about the company. We were the first ones to bring them to a conference, and they keep coming just more to educate subscribers and keep them up to date. So when I do re-recommend the company, which I will when I'm ready, people are up to date with the company. So you got to do your homework. It's part training, right? You can't just play in the season and during off season do nothing. You still got to keep up to date with what's going on with the company. Another management team that I have huge amount of respect for, and a bunch of our Casey Club subscribers on the Monday following our show, which ends tomorrow. On the Monday, we're taking 50 of our subscribers up to the Hobson uranium processing facility, which can produce up to 2 million pounds of uranium. And what Amir Dania's team has done there has been incredible. How many of these companies go from exploration to production? Less than 1 in 3,000.
Yeah.
So you bring these companies out there so they can see what's going on. And this company, when we first recommended in our newsletter, was a buy under 25 cents. And yes, I took profits along the way to get a Casey free ride, but it's in our 10-bagger club. It went to $7. Imagine buying a stock for less than 25 cents and it went to $7.
Yeah, life-changing returns for some people.
It is. You put 10, 5,000, 10,000, that's a big return.
It is.
In less than 30 months. And just recently, we re-recommended the stock under $1.05. You're well aware of that. It had a great run $1. And now we're putting another buy on it because I truly believe in the company.
What UEC is about, $1.30 right now?
Yeah, it's about $1.30, $1.40, fluctuating around.
So that mine tour is going to be a pretty big deal. First of all, have you been to this
Yes,
process?
I've been a few times to the process.
Is this the first time Casey Research has done something like this, where they've taken people to a project?
Look, I love what I do. I got a lot of friends in the business, and a few years ago I had the idea of, hey, Vancouver's the hub of all the junior resources. We had a conference there, and Olivier, who runs Casey Research, is absolutely incredible guy, great president to run a company. I said, look, Copper Mountain, which is Canada's 3rd largest producing mine, which I'm on a board member of, the management team have done an amazing job. So I look at someone like Jim O'Rourke and Rod Shire. These are world-class guys. And I said, look, we got so many Casey subscribers coming to this conference. Why don't we get, the day before the conference to bring up on a bus all of our Casey Club subscribers and show them what I see all the time and what Louis sees. And they loved it. And then that feedback got me to go, okay, well, here's another gold mine. So I took 50 people to a gold mine. And so they could see what's going on. So once a year, we have a conference somewhere in the US. Once we've had it in Canada. And what I do is wherever it is, I go, okay, well, a buddy of mine, or I know a management team have a mine here or somewhere close within a day trip. And because we're having this conference in San Antonio by fluke, Hobson's only 90 minutes away, so we leave at 8:45. We're going to have 50 people go through a processing facility, understand the process of why I like Weiser, which is a warm ISR production. It's the lowest cost production in the U.S. And then they're back in the same day, and it's a great experience for subscribers.
Yeah, a lot of people I don't think understand. If you wouldn't mind just teaching us on how this process works, because it seems like it's a hose almost to where you can just turn it off and then turn it back on.
Yeah.
Whereas most people think of mining as open pit or them
Moving rock.
inside of a ground. Yeah.
So let's start. There's two ways to mine uranium. There's the conventional way, which is moving rock, crushing rock, and then concentrating the uranium out of the rock.
Yeah.
That's expensive. That doesn't work under $60 anywhere in the US. Then there's ISR, which was, a North American technology. Started in the 60s, it really got refined. And Wyoming's a great place for ISR, except it's very cold. And when you move water, ISR is basically you inject soda water, you go through the rock, you pregnate the solution, you run it back to your processing plant. It's essential as a water bottling facility, except on a much grander scale. You're just processing water. That's it. And why I like Wiser warm ISR, it's shallower because of the geology in Texas, so you don't have to drill as deep. And you don't have to have header houses or insulation in your pipes, because when you move water, cold weather, freezing weather, minus 10 degrees Celsius, is not good for moving water because water freezes. In Texas, you don't even need the header houses insulated. You don't need foundations. You don't need to do underground piping. You lay it all on the ground. Yeah. And there's a cost advantage to that.
What was your talk on today?
I had a few talks today. Really, it was about energy. That's what I focused on. My book, The Colder War, which is expected to crack the New York Times best-selling list by the pre-sales.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. And that goes on sale on November 10th. And it's really talking about the paradigm shift in energy. Look what's going on with Russia. I've been talking about this for years. Now it's on the front page of the newspaper. Yeah. But what's next? Well, Russia's working with China and India and Brazil and South Africa. There's a new BRICS bank which is going to compete with the IMF. Is the petrodollar at risk? Yes, it is. What's going to happen? Well, Obama is very rattled and confused. He's going to be proven to be the Wizard of Oz. He's a confused man. And Putin has just exposed him as a confused Wizard of Oz. He's just the voice behind. He's got no agenda. So unfortunately, the Americans have a very failed foreign policy, and it's been exposed. With today's technology and today's communications, it's not like it was 60, 70 years ago. And the actions of Putin are completely, Putin's playing chess on a chessboard while Obama thinks he's playing checkers.
Yeah. Do you think that ultimately Russia, China, or what could even replace the dollar? That's what I'm thinking. Like, the dollar is such an important aspect of the global economy. 33% of nations are using it, pegged to it, or have some type of major link to it for their economy. What could even replace it? And how? I mean, is this a decade you're talking about, or 30 years from now?
The process is already happening, Dan. If you look at China and Iran, they're not using US dollars anymore. Iran's looking at selling oil in terms of gold. Russia and the yuan, they're doing a $400 billion deal. I can assure you it's not in US dollars. That's the biggest energy deal ever. So you got to look at what's going on, and it's happening in front of us. It's going to be slow. But for the Americans, the petrodollar is basically the sustaining way of life of the American dream. And if the petrodollar goes, so does the American dream.
What about all the fracking that's going on? Couldn't that be a game changer that puts the U.S. back on top with exporting oil?
Not under Obama's administration. Fracking has been a game changer. There's a reason why the Europeans pay 3 times more gas than the average American. That's because of fracking. North American technology is going to get into Mexico. It's starting in Mexico. It's starting to get applied in Europe. The Russians are using the technology. The Chinese are using the technology. So yes, there is a way. Unfortunately, let's talk about LNG. Everyone's saying, well, America has so much gas. Well, they're already 5 years behind what the Australians are doing and 15 years behind the Russians and Qatar. Qatar is a massive LNG producer, and they can produce it for half the price. But the biggest risk on LNG isn't about what America's going to do or Canada's going to do. 2 countries consume 50% of the LNG in the world. About 38% is Japan, 12% is Korea. Would you want to invest in a sector that 2 countries make up half of the demand? And it's all because of Fukushima. And that's why uranium is working out right now. If your viewers have played, the spot price of uranium is up 25% over the last month and a half. Gold isn't up 25% over the last month and a half. oil's not up 25% over the last month and a half. Uranium is the place to be for your, for your resource portfolio. You need to have some exposure to uranium.
You talked about UEC in this interview. I know Amir Nani is here with Brazil Resources as well. Another strong recommendation that you've made to us in the past, the RIA project. Is this a game changer for Brazil Resources?
It is, and this is what I mean by investing in the right management. Amir, it's a bad junior gold market right now. And that's good if you're a contrarian investor. That's why Rick Rule and I, in our fund with Doug Casey, we're backing the right management teams, because the right management team will capitalize in this market. So they went after a company that had a market cap of over $125 million. They bought it for 1/10 of that. On top of that, they doubled their ounces in the ground. So let's just say the gold alone was a great deal.
Yeah.
But within that deal, a family that did a major multi-billion-dollar deal with Areva had these assets, and the highest grade uranium ever drilled in the Athabasca Basin is on the western side, called the Maybelle deposit. Now, nobody talks about it because it's in a major company called Areva. That's the French national nuclear company. So if it was drilled by a junior, everybody in the world would know because of the promotion.
Yeah.
But who has a joint venture with Areva on the property surrounding Maybelle? BRI. That project alone is going to be a game changer, because the grades that are associated with on Maybelle, we're talking over 50% was on that project.
Yeah.
So, it's still early days in its exploration. They came out with a 43-101 report, but who better to have an asset like that and a joint venture with Areva than the same guy who built a uranium mine in the US?
Yeah. Do you think Amir is better off further developing and exploring his gold properties, or do you think he should actually focus on the property up there in Canada?
Well, the advantage of having exploration projects in Canada is you can raise money at a significant premium because of a tax advantage called flow-through dollars. So I believe what Amir is going to do is have a two-pronged approach. And Amir is a very good businessman. And now that he has a joint venture with Areva, he has a 43-101. I'll tell you, one of the guys, I won't say his name, but he's a very well-known individual. And Rick Rule and I, we were all at a public forum in Vancouver. He sold his company to Rio Tinto, so you can kind of figure out who this is.
Yeah.
And he said this is one of the best projects in the world that nobody knows. That's the RE project. And he said no junior is going to be able to get it from Amir. So Amir is going to be able to maximize the value. Now, what I'd like to see Amir do, and what I believe his mindset is, from what I understand, is he's going to make BRI become a major producer of gold. And it's going to take time. He started with nothing, and now he's got 4 million ounces. He's already done more than any other junior during this time frame. Now, the RE project, he's going to attract a lot of attention for it. So will he spin it out, or will he add more value? I don't know. But you know that Amir is going to move it forward. And as our fund is the largest reporting shareholder of the company, that's what we want. We've added to our position over the years because you back the right management team. And whether the spot price, yes, uranium's in a big upswing right now, that's irrelevant to me, because I'm looking for like a 5-10 year progression with Amir. I always talk about building a franchise. Take it back to a sports team. If you've got Michael Jordan in his second year in the Chicago Bulls, why would you sell him? You can build a franchise, build multiple championships. That's what Rick and I are planning to do with Amir Adani.
Yeah. Marin, uranium in general, how do you profit from it? Well, I mean, because you can't buy the spot price. I assume you can't. An individual investor, like if you want to buy gold, you can buy GLD. Like, what's the best way to profit from uranium?
Well, actually, as an individual, you can buy physical uranium. There's a few different ways to do this. You can invest in UPC, that's Uranium Participation Corp, and all they have is uranium, U308, and UF6. That's it.
Okay.
That's one way to approach it. We've done that in our newsletter. We made over 30%, and we sold it because it trades at a NAV. If it's a discount to NAV, we buy it. And then it moves up because people figure out, oh my God, Uranium Participation Corp is trading at a discount. Then when it moves to NAV, that's fair value, you sell it. It's a very simple trade. Then what I would look at is, I don't like juniors that are hedged for production. Why would you deplete your reserves, your finite reserves, in a bad uranium price market? That's why I'm so bullish on UEC, and it's been a great performer for our subscribers. So that's why I invite him here, because everybody's made money on UEC, and we're taking them to a site. so people can see with themselves what's going on. They're unhedged. They have zero hedged. That's what I'm very bullish on because it's a bad price. Why would you hedge here? Let uranium run, and they're going to have and they're permitted for up to 2 million pounds of uranium in that processing facility. So if uranium got to, let's say, $60 in the next 8 months or 12 months or 18 months, he can ramp up production. He doesn't have to wait for permitting or building his mine or raising the money. It's done. He just needs the higher prices.
In closing, a lot of the attraction of KC Research is the gold and silver bugs and precious metals investors. It's been a rough market out there. A lot of people thought, with the juniors bottoming essentially, not making newer lows in over a year, gold not making any new lows, and now here's silver on Friday did make a new low. I just want to know, what's your overall assessment of the precious metals right now as far as gold, silver specifically?
Look, the junior resources are a derivative of the actual commodity of gold and silver. Most of these companies don't actually own any gold or silver. Their value is derived from the value of gold and silver. That's why they're called derivatives. Now, I'm really pushing the limits of why it's called a derivative, but you have to be very careful when you invest in these juniors. This type of market, and I've said this for over a year and a half, is my kind of market because if you invest in the right management teams, they will take advantage of this market. You don't want to invest in a company that's going to consolidate the sector at $1,800 gold because everything's expensive. You want to consolidate when there's blood on the streets.
Yeah.
That's where you make money. So be very careful. Now, if your company needs $1,500 gold, don't own it. It's that simple because there's no value there. The value in the junior resources are in the management teams. And the right management teams will find the right rocks in the right jurisdictions. The wrong management teams are going to lose your money.
Marin, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Look forward to are you on a panel tonight or it's tomorrow?
Tomorrow again.
Tomorrow, and that's when you do your big picks for the next year.
Correct.
How were your picks last year from this year?
Actually, we're doing very well. And now, in all fairness, we're in the energy sector, and it's been a great run in the energy side. So we've had a fantastic run, and it's been a great market for energy. And just so people know, $90 oil is a great price for oil.
Yeah.
If you're in the right management teams, you can make a lot of money at $4 gas and $90 oil.
All right, Marin, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.